Ever feel like your brain is just juggling flaming chainsaws while you're also trying to scroll TikTok?
Yeah.
You're definitely not alone.
Yeah.
In this, always on world, focus feels less like a normal thing and more like some kind of superpower.
Right. A lost superpower for most of us.
Totally. Feels like we've all lost our capes. But what if I told you there's actually a way to get that power back?
Okay.
To cut through all the noise, understand how your brain is really wired, and seriously supercharge your ability to concentrate.
Mm-hmm.
That's what we're doing today, a deep dive into some powerful, really actionable insights, stuff from neuroscience, psychology, productivity research.
Good stuff.
Yeah. And it's not about grinding harder, it's about working smarter and actually, enjoying things more.
It really is. I mean, the information landscape now is just, it's overwhelming. It's so easy to feel lost.
Totally.
But if you get how your brain is actually built to handle information,
Yeah.
its cognitive architecture, you can do way more than just cope. You can thrive. And these aren't just quick hacks.
Yeah.
They're solid principles backed by research. They can genuinely change things.
All right, let's dive in. Where do we start?
Well, let's kick off with something that is often a shocker. The invisible cost of distraction. Some people call it the cognitive switching penalty.
Okay, the switching penalty. I think I know this one. And yeah, it was a wake-up call for me too. It's like you pick up your phone for just a minute, right?
Mm-hmm. Quick check.
Yeah, quick check. Or you pop over to Slack for a fast question. But that minute, it's not just a minute.
Not at all.
Research keeps showing it can take your brain, like up to 20 minutes to properly get back into whatever complex thing you were doing before.
Exactly. 20 minutes.
It's this brutal hidden cost for something that feels tiny.
It is brutal. And the why behind it is fascinating. Your brain, it has limited attention, right? Think of it like one strong spotlight.
Okay.
When you switch tasks, that spotlight has to defocus from the old thing, swing around, refocus, and then rebuild the whole context for the new thing.
Right. It's not instant.
No way.
Yeah.
And that whole process, it eats up cognitive energy like mental juice.
Yeah.
Every single switch drains you a bit,
Yeah.
and the quality of your work just dips.
So your brain isn't built for that constant back and forth.
Nope. It's optimized to pour its resources into one thing. Trying to light up two stages perfectly with one spotlight just doesn't work well.
Okay, so if switching kills our focus and energy, why do we think we're good at juggling multiple things? Which brings us straight to number 2, the myth of multitasking.
The big myth.
Oh man, we love to think we're multitasking pros, don't we? It feels so productive. Answering emails on a Zoom call, maybe jotting down presentation notes.
Mm-hmm. Feels busy.
Super busy, but the science, like actual solid studies, just confirms it tanks your productivity and the quality too. It's basically an illusion.
It absolutely is. And why does it feel productive then? That's the key. Because your brain is wired for one main task.
Okay.
Think about this stat. Your mind processes maybe 110 bits of information per second. That's its speed limit, basically.
110 bits. Doesn't sound like a lot.
It isn't. Just understanding someone talking to you takes like 40 to 60 bits per second.
Whoa, really? Half your capacity just for listening?
Pretty much. So if you're in a conversation, you've already used up a huge chunk. Try doing much else. You're splitting that limited attention, causing overload.
Cognitive overload, okay.
Yeah. And we see it in studies, like college students with tech distractions. They average less than 6 minutes on one task before switching.
6 minutes? That's barely getting started.
Exactly. Before, poof, attention's gone again. It's like giving yourself mental whiplash all day.
Okay, 6 minutes is horrifying. So if multitasking is out, what's the solution? What's insight number 3?
Enter the deep work revolution. This comes from Cal Newport, and it's not just a buzzword, it's a real shift.
Deep work, I've heard of this. It's about, total focus.
Exactly. Focusing completely on one demanding thing with zero distractions allowed.
Yeah.
Like zero. Imagine that kind of focus block.
Hard to imagine sometimes. But the benefits must be huge.
Oh, they're profound. We hear stories all the time, like a programmer finding they could do in 4 hours what used to take 8.
Doubling productivity. How?
By being ruthless.
Yeah.
No phone checks, no Slack pings, no email alerts, not even quick snack breaks during those deep work blocks.
Wow. Just pure focus.
Pure focus. And it did more than just boost output. It cut down procrastination massively.
Yeah.
Because when there's no escape hatch, no quick dopamine hit from your phone.
You actually have to tackle the hard problem.
Exactly. You face it head on and often solve it faster because your brain isn't all fragmented.
Okay, so deep work is powerful. But how do you actually stick with it? How do you sustain that focus day after day?
That leads nicely into our fourth insight. The power of routine seems almost too simple, right?
Yeah, like just have a routine. Sounds basic.
But it's not just about discipline. It's about training your brain
Training it how?
through consistency. When you commit to a routine, maybe starting deep work same time every day, or having set hours for certain types of tasks, your brain starts to adapt. It builds an internal cue. After a while, those dedicated hours become linked with focus in your mind. It gets easier to just drop into that focus state, almost automatically.
Like Pavlov's dogs, but for focusing.
Kind of.
Yeah.
You're conditioning your brain to expect focus during those times. It's setting an internal alarm for concentration.
Makes sense. Okay, so routine helps train the brain internally. What about externally? What's next?
Next up, number 5, master your environment. The out of sight, out of mind principle. This is super practical, especially if you feel addicted to your phone.
Out of sight, out of mind. So literally hiding the distractions.
Literally. Physically removing them, put the phone in another room, turn off the notifications.
That feels like step one for so many people, myself included sometimes.
It's fundamental. Neurologically, your brain craves those little dopamine hits your phone constantly provides.
Right, the little rewards.
Exactly. At first, you might still reach for it without thinking, like an unconscious tick, as one source put it.
Oh yeah, the phantom phone reach. I know that one.
We all do. But physically removing it, maybe only letting urgent family calls break through Do Not Disturb, actively breaks that habit loop.
You're cutting off the instant gratification supply.
Precisely. It forces your brain to find other things to focus on. The urge is strong initially, but it does fade. You starve the distraction habit.
Okay, that's a solid, actionable step. But, we've talked about external stuff, phone placement, routines. What about the internal reasons we get distracted? Why do we choose it sometimes?
Now we're getting deeper. Insight number 6, unmasking the why, the hidden drivers of digital distraction. It's not always just habit. There's psychology under the surface.
Okay, like what? What
Yeah.
drives it?
Well, sometimes it's surprising. Big ones include, first, anxiety and depression.
Really? How does that connect?
High internet use, binge watching, constant music, endless email checking can be a coping mechanism. It offers a kind of social comfort, or numbs difficult emotions, or helps avoid stressful work or study.
Wow. Okay, that makes sense. What else?
Second, simple low motivation or interest. If a task feels really hard or just plain boring,
The phone suddenly looks very interesting.
exactly, digital distraction becomes the easy procrastination route. And the third big one, which hits so many people, FOMO, fear of missing out.
FOMO, the constant need to check notifications.
Digital info feels so temporary, right? Like it'll disappear. Plus, there's huge social pressure to keep up, respond instantly, maintain that online image.
Yeah, that pressure is real.
It makes delaying gratification incredibly hard. You end up sacrificing important stuff for those fleeting digital updates. It's not just weakness, it's a powerful social drive being kind of hijacked.
Man, so it's not just us being lazy. There are these deep psychological and social forces at play. That's insightful. Okay,
Yeah.
so after understanding the why of distraction, let's talk about the ideal state. What's insight 7?
Something we all chase, the flow state, effortless focus and intrinsic reward.
Flow, yes. Being in the zone, totally locked in, where time just melts away and you're completely absorbed.
That's the one. It's this amazing mental state. Energized focus, total immersion, genuine enjoyment in the task itself.
What are the key parts of it?
Well, there's intense concentration, but it feels effortless. Action and awareness merge. You're just doing, not thinking about doing. You lose self-consciousness.
Yeah, you're not worried about how you look or sound.
Right. You feel a sense of control. And the activity itself is the reward. The magic often happens when the challenge of the task is nicely balanced with your skills, just slightly stretching you.
Stretching, but not breaking you.
Exactly. Think of artists who get so lost in their work they forget to eat. Or that amazing quote from Ayrton Senna, the F1 driver.
Oh, what did he say?
He described driving sometimes by a kind of instinct, only I was in a different dimension. It was like I was in a tunnel.
Wow, like I was in a tunnel. That perfectly captures it, doesn't it? That total immersion.
It really does. And the great thing is, flow isn't just for genius artists or athletes. We can all find ways to access it.
Okay, but if flow is so great and deep work is so effective, why do we bail? Why do we give up on building these habits or pushing through to find that flow?
That brings us to the brain chemistry. Insight number 8, the neuroscience of persistence, noradrenaline versus dopamine. It's about hacking your internal reward system.
Noradrenaline and dopamine. Okay, chemistry lesson time. What's the deal?
So when you really focus and exert effort, your body releases noradrenaline. The more effort, the more it builds up.
Okay.
When that noradrenaline hits a certain level, that's often when you feel like quitting. You hit a wall.
Right, that I can't do this anymore.
Exactly. And this is the cool part. When you achieve something, even just feel like you're making progress towards a goal, your brain releases dopamine.
The feel-good chemical.
Right.
Yeah.
And dopamine actually lowers the noradrenaline level.
No way. So dopamine fights the quit signal?
It effectively resets it. It's like your brain's natural keep-going juice. This is why breaking big tasks into smaller milestones works so damn well.
Because each little win gives you a dopamine hit.
Precisely. That hit reduces the noradrenaline, letting you push on. It's not about brute force willpower. It's about strategically rewarding your brain along the way.
Holy cow, that is genuinely game-changing. It's not about muscling through, it's about understanding the chemistry. Okay, that's huge. So how do we tie all these ideas, the focus, the routines, the environment, the chemistry together into a bigger strategy?
That leads us perfectly to insight number 9, self-regulated learning, SRL, your personal master strategy. And don't let the learning part fool you. This is for anyone wanting to be more effective.
Self-regulated learning. Okay, sounds a bit academic, but what does it actually mean?
It's basically becoming an active driver in your own improvement journey. It's a cycle with key phases.
Like what?
First, forethought and planning, setting clear goals, using a planner, maybe reviewing stuff to build background knowledge. If you're feeling unsure, you work on a mastery mindset, focusing on improving, not just performing, and planning enough time.
Okay, planning phase. Makes sense. Then what?
Then monitoring,
Huh.
checking in with yourself. Am I understanding this? Am I losing motivation? You regulate your effort, your time, ask for help if you need it, like checking your gauges while driving.
Gotcha. Monitoring progress and motivation.
Then control, the execution phase. Choosing the right strategies for this specific task. Like you wouldn't study for a math test the same way you'd prep for an essay, right?
Definitely not.
And crucially, managing procrastination here. Using that dopamine trick, delaying gratification for the bigger reward.
Right. Okay, plan, monitor, execute. What's last?
Reaction and reflection. Looking back honestly, how did I do? Was digital distraction the problem? What strategy should I try next time? It's about becoming your own coach, tweaking your approach, building that internal drive.
Plan, monitor, control, reflect. Okay, that's a really solid framework for intentionally getting better at. Well, anything really, not just learning.
Exactly. It applies broadly to tackling complex tasks and managing focus.
All right, we've covered a ton. We have one insight left. What's our grand finale? Number 10.
Number 10 is about cutting through the noise. Focus on the wildly important task, moving the needle. In a world screaming urgent, how do you focus on what truly matters?
The wildly important task. I like the sound of that. WIT.
Maybe. The core idea is asking yourself, what's the one task that, if I nail it, would make most other tasks less relevant or even irrelevant?
Okay, find the biggest lever.
Precisely. Think of that software engineer again. Maybe their wildly important task is creating a killer threat model for the main product.
Because that has massive impact, huge leverage.
Exactly. If they knock that out of the park, providing huge security value, is anyone really going to sweat the small stuff they might have deprioritized? Probably not.
Right. It provides clarity. Focus your best energy on the thing with the biggest payoff.
It's about aiming for excellence where it counts most. Instead of spreading yourself thin across dozens of minor things, it helps you really move the needle.
Wow. Okay, so let's recap quickly. We've got the hidden costs of switching tasks, the myth of multitasking, the power of deep work and routine, mastering your environment.
Understanding the why behind distraction, chasing flow, hacking persistence with dopamine, using self-regulated learning.
And finally, zeroing in on that wildly important task. Man, that's a lot, but it paints a really clear picture.
It really does. Mastering your mind isn't about magic willpower. It's about understanding these things, how your brain works, the traps it falls into, and the strategies that leverage its strengths.
Yeah, and it's not just about being more productive, is it? It's about deeper engagement, better learning, more fulfillment. It feels like taking back control, fundamentally.
Absolutely. It's an ongoing journey, right? Understanding your brain, applying these ideas strategically.
So the final thought for everyone listening.
Given everything we've talked about, how our brains love habits, how they crave those rewards, what's one small positive habit you'll commit to this week? Something to protect or implement to get just a little more flow, a little less distraction in your own life.